Hi everybody, it's Stephen here for Bland Designs, and this is acrylic pouring video number 14. And I thought before I start with today's project, show you what I did with my epic fail in my first attempt at pouring with resin. And here's the final piece. Now you'll notice that what I did was I used some of the PBO, the Moon liquid solvent paints, and they're the ones that I've shown on other videos where you mix them together and they'll sort of create their own cells and neat effects. And I just poured these on top of the resin pour. And after it was dry, of course. And this is what I got. And I think this came out quite nice. So basically, you can take a piece of crap that you've created, and with a little imagination and some more experimentation, you can make it actually into something that's a wall-worthy piece. And this one is going on my wall. And so I kind of like that. And this PBO paints, it's not paint, it's like enamels or something like that. They actually feel like they are resin when they dry. So I wonder if there's some sort of resin mixed in with it. Now, speaking about resin, thank you to everybody who made some comments to that last epic fail video and who were concerned about my health. And yes, I have to tell you something. I was smelling that stuff for 2 days after I did the pour. I don't think that was good. Walter said he didn't notice the smell, but I sure did. That got right into my nose, and I don't think that's good. So I went out and I looked at respirators and things like that, but I'm really not happy with that type of resin, the Easy Cast. I really think that one's meant for pouring into molds, not so much for painting, like I'm doing here. I did some more research and I found that one, there are other resins on the market that supposedly are low odor. Now, one that's really popular right now is this called Art Resin. This is not cheap. These two bottles, they're 4 ounces each, 4 ounces of resin, 4 ounces of hardener. They came to $32 before tax at Curry's art supply store. I've looked at them online. They're about the same price online, and I'm quoting in Canadian prices, of course. And you can get larger amounts. Actually, I wanted the next size up from this, which is about $64, but they were out of that. The next size after that were gallon pails of it for about $135, and then there's mega size for about $240 something. I thought, let's start small. I'll just use these and see what I get. So today I am going to use these, and I'm going to do them on a small canvas. Now, so these are supposed to have very little odor to them. They're supposed to be, I don't know if they're completely non-toxic. Well, I don't recommend drinking them. I'm just looking here. It says it may cause skin, eye irritation, or allergic reaction. So again, caution with this. We'll see how this goes. As far as that other stuff is concerned, if I ever use it again, I'm going to use it outside. But I have a feeling I'm not going to use it, not for this kind of thing again. All right, so today what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. Oh, the other thing I've discovered is the directions on these bottles telling you how much hardener to put in with the resin are really meant for casting. If you're going to do some casting, if you're pouring it, my theory is, and it's not just my theory, I did a little bit of research. Walter did a whole lot of research, and he's come up with the idea that really you don't need as much hardener in the resin for this kind of painting because you're not putting it in something that's quite so thick that you want a really hard final project from. So, having said that, the mixture on these two is a 1-to-1. That other stuff you had to put so many drops into, so many milliliters, depending on the thickness, very complicated. I think I used way too much hardener in the other one as well, and I think it's the hardener that's giving off the smell. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to pour some very tiny amounts of this. I've got a relatively small canvas that I'm going to be pouring on, and I'm not going to use a 1-to-1 ratio with the hardener. I'm going to use a little less than. I'm only going to use a few drops and see what comes from that. And to color them, I'm going to use Liquitex inks. These are acrylic inks. Last time I used pigment powders, Pearl X, and I'm going to do this in shades of blue with some white as well. So we're going to see what happens here, and I'm going to start mixing these up. I'm not going to, I'll let you see my last cup that I mix up. And I think I'll do it as a dirty, I may do it as a dirty pour. Yeah, I think I'll try it as a dirty pour and see what happens from there. So I'll be back. Okay, so I've mixed up 3 of these so far, and this is what it looks like once it's mixed up. It goes cloudy. It says on the bottle to mix it up for 3 minutes, so I have done that, and then I add it to my color, and I'm only adding just about 3 or 4 drops of this. That's all you need. So this is my last one. Okay, should be enough. And then it doesn't take much. You stir it around and incorporate the color into this. And at first when I poured these out and put the hardener in, I thought, oh, they're going to be way too thick to pour. They are a little thicker, but well, that's not a bad running consistency. And you're supposed to be able to, once you've got the hardener all mixed into this, your open time is about 45 minutes. And I put white in this one already, and I've got my other colors mixed up here. I'm just giving them all an extra little stir. And as I said, I think I'm going to do this as a dirty pour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move over to the other camera to where I've got my canvas set up. And I'm using a canvas board actually. Originally I pulled out a larger canvas, but with the amount that I have here, I don't think it'll be enough to cover that other canvas. So I've got a smaller canvas board. So I'm going to give that a try. Okay, so I'm over here with my canvas board, and I've got another cup, and this is the cup I'm going to use as a dirty pour. And I'm just going to give these each a little bit of a stir just to make sure everything's incorporated. Now, about the smell, there's almost absolutely no smell to this whatsoever. And mixing it, although that takes a while, I'm liking this right now from the start. We'll see how this works out. Now I do have air bubbles, but I don't think I'll worry about that, so I'll put in a little white. And let's go with a little bit of the teal. And this blue. And then this blue. And I'm going to put a little bit more white. Actually, I think I'll just finish the white right off. And the teal. I might hold a little of that back because I had a little bit more of that than the white. See if I can scrape out any more white. I'm just going to empty all the rest of these right in here. I'm not sure what the coverage is going to be like, but I have a feeling that I have more than enough. Maybe I should grab the larger canvas. So actually, I'm thinking I should, because I think there's plenty here. Yeah, I'm going to grab the other canvas. Okay, so we got the bigger canvas on here. And do I want to do a flip cup or do I want to do, I think I'll do a flip cup. I'm just gonna let that sit there for a second. And I hope I'm in frame. Yep, looks like I am. Good. Oh yeah, there's more than enough in here. Now, it's a pretty blue, but let's just move it around a little bit. And move that out of my way. Not really getting any cells, but okay. Just let it drip. Might not have been enough of a contrast between the blues. We'll see what happens when I hit it with the torch. Just want to get all the corners covered. No smell. I'm impressed by that. If this had been that other stuff, I'd be pretty much on the floor by now. Okay. I'm going to hit it with the torch. See what happens. Nothing really. I'm getting a little bit of a rippling in here, very faint. I wonder if I dare swipe. Let me get a palette knife. Okay, I've got a palette knife here. Let's see what happens. Nothing much. I'll try the torch again. Okay, well, as things go, it's pretty. I mean, the blue color is pretty. Makes a nice background, but no cells. And I'm not really sure why, unless it has to do with just the fact that the colors I used. Just touching up the edges. Actually, I'm going to use my fingers. Pardon the head. Oops. Now I put a little bit in there, got a little bit of a line, and I'm going to leave that because right now I'm working pretty much in a dull, plain space. I'm wondering though, okay, I don't think I have any more. I've got a little bit more. I wonder what happens if I can drizzle. Now, I really don't think that's doing much. So, okay. This, by the way, is one of my reclaimed canvases from the thrift store that I tell you I buy at ridiculously cheap prices, and then I just bring them home and put a couple of coats of gesso on them, and they're ready to go. So I'm looking at this. I'm not too impressed. Okay, let's try. See what happens if I drag a catalyst tool through it. Of course, that's taking me down to the bare canvas. And I don't have a lot of contrasting colors, so. Now, it's still wet, of course, and maybe this is kind of nuts to try. Well, it's kind of interesting. I'm just looking at the way the colors kind of ripple through, so just do this again. It seems to kind of fill back in where I hit the bare canvas, and it is giving me some very subtle patterning. It may be that my colors weren't enough of a contrast in colors. But that's why it's an experiment. We're playing around here. Now, I don't know if this is showing up in the camera, but I'm getting sort of like little, very subtle wavy marks in here. So now what I'm thinking is grabbing some of the PBO and dropping it in and seeing what happens with that. I'm just making some space here. It's still moving, of course, and it does for a while. Okay, let me grab the PBOs. What colors have I got here? There's sort of a bluey color. And I'm going to need a little stick for this, so bear with me. I'm just going over to my supplies. Grab the little stir stick here. What is this color? This color is sky blue. See what happens. Ooh, that's kind of pretty. Well, this is kind of neat. I don't know how this will dry, but we'll see. What else? Maybe I should add a little gold in here. That's what this is, I think. By the way, what I'm using are called Vertrel. They're the PBO. These are a solvent type of paint. So I am mixing chemicals here. Maybe I shouldn't be, but we'll see. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. And some of this, when you do it, whatever the solvent is that's in them, sometimes rises to the top. And you want to mix that in. Interesting. I really don't know what I'm doing, but it's kind of cool. Maybe do some more along this side. Ooh, they're developing a halo around them, the blue is. Oops, I won't contaminate this. That's kind of pretty. It's very different. So, what's this one? This one is citron, that's a little yellow. That's a chartreuse. Chartreuse might be okay. This is sort of a red. Crimson. Maybe just a drop of the crimson. Or maybe I should stick to the chartreuse. Yeah, actually, maybe I should stick to the chartreuse. The chartreuse is a little bit more of a greeny, tealy color. This stuff does have a smell, but not that strong, but definitely a solvent smell. Not sure if I should have done the chartreuse or not in there, but it is what it is. Oops, there goes my phone. Excuse me for just a second. It's my timer. I've got something in the oven. But you can sit there for a minute. It's not going to hurt it. If I can get my gloves back on. Okay, once you take these suckers off. Sorry about the noise. Okay. All right, so this is still moving. I'm letting it do its thing. I'm not so sure I should have done the chartreuse. I'm just going to leave it. I'm just going to leave it now. Let it dry. Let it do its own thing. Let the colors move around on here, and we'll call it a day on this one. And I'll show you what it looks like when it finally dries. I'm going to let it sit for about an hour, and then I'll come back. By then the movement should be just about pretty much done. It won't be totally dry, of course, but then I'll show you what it looks like in an hour's time, because this is going to start to change a little bit, I think. Okay, so I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so it's been a couple of hours, and of course this is still wet, but I had a little problem. Bring it up a little closer. See this? Had a little problem up in that top corner, and added some more stuff to it, and I don't think I probably should have. I don't think it's going to move much more on here, but anyways, it's a little different piece. Oh, now I've got those stuck. Well, that's good. Okay, and yeah, I think my biggest problem with this piece was that I used 3 blues that were too close in color. I needed more contrast. But we'll see how this dries. And I do like that art resin a lot better than the Easy Cast resin I was using before. Very little fumes on this. Much easier to work with, I think. So I'm going to experiment further with this type of resin, and I may invest in a larger quantity of it if my other experiments work out a little better. This is an unusual looking piece, a little different, whatever. It's all part of the experiment. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll carry on with more experiments, and every time we learn something new, don't we? Talk to you later. Bye-bye.